So, happy 4th of July. I figured because it's so nice out today, and I didn't really feel like sitting in the basement, sitting in my office, I figured I'd come outside, sit on my back porch, and do another edition of Slot Stories about the Carrera 57 Chevy. Before I started at the company in 2010, they had already done some street versions and a black and white race version. And one year I was asked to look over the molds that we had and try to decide what I could do with existing molds, and the 57 Chevy race version was one of those cars. I figured I might as well do fictional liveries, some fun decorations that were as period correct as I could possibly be, and still have a little bit of fun. So here we have some of the cars. Unfortunately, we were only able to do maybe one car a year or two cars a year. With Carrera, I wasn't really given a lot of cars each year that I could do, so I had to pick a decoration each year and just kind of work in as many as I could over the years. The 57 Chevys had a long race history, even into the present day, with some of the fiberglass body cars. So we just started with some ideas, kicking back and forth ideas, and one of the ideas we came up with first, that I came up with, was to kind of pay tribute to the place where I slot car race. So the Sammy's Garage car was the first in the series of the race versions, the newer race versions. Sammy's Garage on the back quarter, and then you just lost on the back. And then we just kind of put in some period correct sponsor decals. You see the champion on there, and we really tried to get the cars as real feeling kind of as we could. As I said, Sammy's Garage is where I race. Sam and Sam Barbos, father and son, we race on S&S Speedway. It's a wood track where the club that I race with. That's one of the tracks that we race on. Who knows? Now we race at Scott Kozaka's track. Maybe I'll have to do a Kozo Park livery on a car at some point. You never know. Another decoration on the car we did was the Fast Eddie Speed Shop, Cherry Point, North Carolina. So there were two things about this car that made this car kind of special. Fast Eddie's Speed Shop was a reference to the president of Carrera of America at the time, Ed Gershowitz. He was born in Cherry Point, North Carolina. The decoration on the car, the colors on the car, the number on the car, was based on a car that I raced with my uncle when I was little. It was the same basic color scheme. It was a 25th scale hard plastic jalopy that I raced when I was little, and when I got into slot cars, I guess 4 or 5 years old. And so that's where the color scheme came for that car. The other two cars, I believe this was a decoration that Gunther, the design director, chose. I think it was based on a real car. Honestly, it doesn't really matter. This car, which was I think it was the last car that I worked on for them, this was based on a real car that I found photos of online, and we only could see the one angle kind of the front. I couldn't see the driver's name on the car, so we didn't go with any driver's name on it. As it turns out, it was a real stock car that was raced in the late 50s or early 60s. And honestly, it didn't really matter, because these cars were all, like I said, they were all trying to be as period correct as possible. They were old enough that people now just kind of have the sense of what cars looked like, race cars looked like at the time. They don't have a sense necessarily of specific cars. So, I mean, there are some notable exceptions to that. Smokey Yunick's car. There's other cars that we could have done that were historical. But in this case, with these, just getting them kind of close enough was good enough, in the best sense of the word. We tried to keep the series going. I was hoping to do some more molds, Ford Fairlane probably, because the Ford actually outsold the Chevy at the time. But I wasn't able to because I wasn't with the company anymore. One thing I didn't get to do while I was there, and we had plans for it, and I don't have the picture anymore, unfortunately, or the box front, the mock-up that was done. We had actually planned on doing a set with the 57 Chevys. It would have been the Sammy's Garage car, and it might have been this car. It was going to be an analog set, a small set, maybe a figure 8, or one of the smaller analog $150 price point sets with two 57 Chevys. Like I said, we had mocked it up, and unfortunately, it didn't happen. I believe that set, if I'm remembering right, is a set that I called Fast Classics. I had named most of the US sets also at the time, and that set name got used later on the Fast Classics set that was the Cobra and the Mustang in the American racing colors. So at least the name didn't go to waste. A little shorter video this time. Again, happy 4th of July. If you like the video, please comment, please like it. Feel free to share it, of course. Hit the subscribe button down below. And thanks for stopping by, and come back again and listen to another version of Flood Stories.